Good morning everyone. Welcome back to your English class. Dear students, this is my second video of Unit 10, The Storm. Now let's begin with the reading of the para given on page number 100. Alex stood his ground. No one had been this close to the stallion since he came on board. But Alec knew that it would not be wise to get any closer and so placed the sugar on the sill. The black looked at it, then back at the boy. Slowly he moved over and began to eat the sugar. Alec watched him for a moment and satisfied. Then, as the rain began to fall, he went back to his cabin. Now, in this para, it is being said that as Black whistled softly, Alex stood still where he was without moving back. Alec knew that if he would move more close to him, he may scare the horse, so he did not move forward. And then he placed the sugar on the sill. The horse looked at the sugar first and then at the boy. He slowly moved closer and began to eat the sugar. Seeing this, Alec felt satisfied, and as it started raining, he went back to his cabin. Now let's read para 3. In the middle of the night, the drake lurched crazily, awakening Alec, who was thrown onto the floor. Outside there were deafening rolls of thunder, his first storm at sea. He pushed the light switch. It was dead. A flash of lightning illuminated the cabin. The top of his desk had been swept clear, and the floor was covered with broken glass. Grabbing a pocket knife, which was parting gift from his uncle, he strapped on his life jacket, hoping that he wouldn't need either. In this para, it's being said that in the middle of the stormy night, the ship Drake made sudden uncontrolled movements, due to which Alec fell onto the floor. There was loud rumbling sound of thunder which was deafening. A flash of lightning illuminated the cabin as there was no light in his cabin. So when the lightning illuminated the cabin, he was able to see the things around him. He saw that the top of his desk had been swept away and there was broken glass all over the floor. He took his pocket knife, which was a parting gift from his uncle, and then he put on his life jacket. Para number 4. Opening the door, he staggered to the deck and hung onto the rail. The shouts of Captain Watson and the crew could be heard faintly above the roar of the winds. Huge waves swept from one end of the drake to the other. Hysterical passengers crowded into the corridor. Alec was genuinely scared now. Never had he seen a storm like this. Para number 4 says that when Alec reached the deck, he could hardly hear the screams of Captain Watson and the crew. Huge waves swept from one end of the ship to the other. Horrified passengers were gathering in the corridor. As this was the first time that Alec was experiencing a storm at the sea, he was also genuinely scared. Para number 5. For what seemed hours, the drake fought wave after wave, trembling, turning on its side, yet somehow managing to stay afloat. The storm began to subside a little, and Alec felt new hope. But then there was a sharp crack, and the ship shook. Alec was thrown flat on his face, which felt hot and sticky with blood. Then he became conscious of screaming passengers climbing, crawling, and stepping over him. Meanwhile, the drake had become still, its engines had gone dead. Para number 5 means that the ship fought with the waves for hours and somehow managed to stay afloat on the sea. Alec felt that the storm had become less intense, and he was having a new hope that now the storm will pass away. But Alec, but just then there was a sharp crack in the ship. The passengers started screaming and panicking. The engine of the Drake was dead. Para number 6. Struggling, Alec pushed himself to his feet and made his way along the deck. His startled eyes took in the scene about him. The Drake, struck by lightning, seemed almost cut in half. They were sinking. The crew were manning the lifeboats, and Captain Watson was shouting directions. One boat was being lowered into the water. A large wave caught it and turned the boat and its occupants in the sea. Para number 6 tells us that after struggling hard, Alec made his way to the deck. He was shocked to see the scene around him. As the lightning struck Drake, it almost cut it into half. The ship was slowly sinking. The captain was screaming directions to move the passengers off from the ship. One of the lifeboats, along with passengers, was turned over by the large waves of the sea. Para number 7. The second lifeboat was being filled and Alec waited his turn. But when it came, the boat had reached its quota. Now, here in para number 7, it's being said that Alec was waiting for his turn to get into the lifeboats. But as it was his turn, just as his turn came, the boat was full. So he was not able to get into it. That's all for today. We'll do the further explanation in our next video. Thank you and have a good day.